Donald Trump insists that America's growing focus on Venezuela is mainly about drugs, smuggling routes, trafficking networks, and illegal exports leaving the country. U.S. naval activity near Venezuelan waters is officially framed as part of that mission. But that explanation may not tell the whole story. There is a strong case that something deeper is at play, and oil may be a central part of it. At first glance, the idea seems strange. Why would the United States need Venezuelan oil at all? Over the last 2 decades, American oil production has surged. Since the mid-2000s, U.S. output has skyrocketed, surpassing both Saudi Arabia and Russia. Venezuela, by contrast, has collapsed from a major producer into a minor player, now ranking around 21st globally. On the surface, America appears completely energy independent. That transformation is largely driven by the shale revolution. Hydraulic fracturing spread across the United States, unlocking enormous new reserves and pushing production to historic highs. But crude oil is not a single, uniform product. What matters is not just how much oil is produced, but what kind of oil it is. Crude oil varies significantly by density. Some oil is medium grade, the type most people picture when they imagine crude, dark, fluid, and moderately thick. Other oil is light crude, which flows easily and can even appear almost clear. And then there is heavy crude, an extremely thick, tar-like substance that moves slowly and requires extensive processing. All 3 types come from the same geological process, but their physical properties differ dramatically. No matter how oil looks when it comes out of the ground, it must eventually be refined. That process happens in large industrial refineries designed for specific types of crude. The United States has over 100 refineries, many of them built decades ago. Their design reflects the kind of oil America historically consumed. A significant number of U.S. refineries, particularly along the Gulf Coast in Texas and Louisiana, were engineered to process heavy crude. California also has facilities originally built to handle heavier oil produced locally in the past. Retrofitting these refineries to handle large volumes of light shale oil is extremely expensive and technically difficult. You cannot simply redesign them overnight. Here is where the imbalance emerges. Shale oil production overwhelmingly produces light crude. Over the past decade, U.S. output of light oil has increased year after year, while domestic production of heavy crude has steadily declined. The refineries still need feedstock, but the type they are optimized for is increasingly scarce inside the United States. As a result, America continues to import oil despite record domestic production. And the composition of those imports has changed dramatically. In the early 2000s, heavy crude made up only a small share of U.S. oil imports. Today, roughly 70% of imported oil is heavy crude. That oil keeps refineries running and gasoline flowing through the economy. There are only a few places in the world with massive reserves of heavy crude. Canada is the largest supplier, and over time it has become America's dominant source. Canadian oil now accounts for more than 60% of U.S. oil imports. Venezuela, once a major supplier, has fallen almost completely out of the picture due to sanctions, mismanagement, and collapse. Yet when global oil reserves are compared, Venezuela stands out. According to multiple estimates, it holds the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, larger than Saudi Arabia, Iran, or Iraq. Crucially, that oil is overwhelmingly heavy crude, precisely the type many American refineries are designed to process. Outside of Canada and Venezuela, there is only one other country with large quantities of heavy crude, Russia. That reality adds another geopolitical layer. Access to heavy oil is not just an economic issue, but a strategic one. Control over supply chains for specific types of energy can shape long-term power balances. This is why Venezuela continues to matter far more than its current production levels suggest. The issue is not how much oil Venezuela pumps today, but what lies beneath the ground and how well it fits America's industrial infrastructure. When you look closely at these details, the situation appears less about drugs alone and more about energy security, refinery compatibility, and geopolitical leverage. Understanding these nuances helps explain why Venezuela remains central to US strategic thinking, even in an era of American energy abundance.